Our saint here is Saint Basil from the 4th century in Turkey, an area called Cappadocia, and in his life he also went to what is Greece. Basil was a great monk who became a bishop, so he's pictured with his bishop's mitre and his bishop's staff, crozier. An idea that conveys is that he is in charge, he is leading, and he is shepherding the people of God in the church. And Basil was a good shepherd. But before he led, he lived a life as a monk. And as a monk, he gathered with other men who wanted to do some good works. What did they do? Well, as monks today would. Together they pray, they reflect. In Basil's case, he studied and he wrote. He helped the church to settle disputes about who God is, how we understand the persons of the Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. And Basil also is noted for mixing prayer with action, caring for the poor. And so it's wonderful to see the blending of people who pray with people who are just and charitable. And that was Basil, along with his friends and community. Basil is also noted for being a good friend. The Cappadocian fathers in the early church enjoyed a friendship. He had a brother who was a saint too, Gregory of Nyssa, and a good friend, Gregory Nazianzen, all wonderful figures in the church's life from the same area and from the same time. And they were friends to each other. Basil's good friend said about Basil, "I find in him someone who shows me the standard of how I can judge what's right and what's wrong." What a wonderful thing to be said about any of us, that when they look at you or me, they say, in looking at this person, I know what's right, and I know that the opposite would be wrong. I want to do what's right. I want to live as that person lives. So those Cappadocian fathers in the church were great friends to each other, friends in the Lord, friends who were leading each other to follow Christ. Basil is also very important for helping the church to settle a sense of the Trinity. Who is the Father? Who is Jesus the Son? Who is the Holy Spirit? Basil was helpful with many others in helping the church to stave off and to oppose the idea that Jesus is not truly God. We have people today who might think of Jesus as very great, but not God. St. Basil is somebody who keeps us focused on the fact that God the Father, Jesus the Son, and their Holy Spirit are equally God. We have one God, three persons. Persons is about the best word we can come up with, but it's not perfect because it could tend to make us think of them as three separate persons. They're not. But three in one is our loving God. St. Basil, thank you for being a good scholar, a wonderful teacher, and a wonderful friend to others. May our learning about God, may our speaking about God, and may our befriending others always be holy as was yours. Interestingly, the window in honor of St. Basil is not given as a gift of one person. It's not given in memory of anyone, but it was the gift to Holy Name Parish as the lower church was being built from the St. Basil Club. I wish I knew more about them, but they sound like a good group of friends.